I know with these overreaction videos, people typically expect me to open this up to the public, get a few tweets in to see people's opinions on things, but the reality is there's only one thing that I want to talk about right now, and that is the failure of League of the Americas North. Viewership for week 1, while not formally in yet, as Esports Charts has not reported it officially, we have glimpses. Whenever the first game of yesterday was happening, I saw probably around like 70K in total. By the time we got to the third game of the day, average viewership had dropped to right around 48,000 people, which means on average, even if we assume best case scenario that maybe that's even wrong, we'll be nice. We will assume 60,000 average concurrent viewers across all games this past weekend. That means that we have dropped 40,000 average viewers since summer of last year, which is unacceptable for a business to have made a decision this terrible that has gotten us to the point where North American League of Legends, while it may have already been in the process of dying already, has now speedrun that entire course. I used to throw the terminology I'm about to use out there kind of around, but I want to be dead serious when I say I mean it this time to the fullest extent in every way, shape, or form. Whoever was responsible for the decision to merge the Americas, but also get rid of the legacy branding of CBLOL and LCS should no longer work at Riot Games, assuming they still are at this moment. I've had enough. People have lost their jobs over way less, let alone losing 40% of the value of your league overnight by terrible decisions and terrible marketing. So here are the 3 things that if I could have any say on it, this is what I would do. This is not a list of demands. I know the whole T1 fandom, or at least like the toxic side of things there, has historically gone down that route of like listing out demands and asking Joe Marsh to be fired. So I understand the parallels of this situation. I do. But ultimately, nobody has to follow any of this. This is just my view on things and how I would like to see things done. If that comes in this territory, then fine. First and foremost, bring the LCS branding back next year. I understand we have too much change ongoing in the entire LoL esports ecosystem that keeping some things consistent year over year would be nice. This branding is not one of them. Revive the LCS, bring it back, and try to save any remaining scrap of value that you have from that acronym that has so much history built into it that might actually get people to tune in, assuming you haven't ruined their trust entirely. That's 1. 2, however Riot is handling their budget, I don't know if that's a Mark Z decision. I don't know if that is above him with Raul and Carlos or beyond. Whoever's handling the budget should no longer be handling the money anymore, because every bit of budget that they had this year should have gone to marketing this new league. And now you are going to have to invest that same amount of marketing when you bring back the LCS branding next year. There should be videos plastered everywhere. There should be content 24/7. I saw the pseudo kind of like sly comments that were made on Reddit this past week of like, oh, well, if people didn't tune in, it's not because we didn't tell them, because we posted on Reddit and posted on Twitter and did all these things. And if you just didn't want to know, you weren't going to know. It's not that they didn't know. You didn't convince them to watch the product. You gave them no reason to actually tune in beyond just saying the date when it was going to happen. And that is poor marketing. You didn't emphasize the players or teams enough. You didn't tell the stories of what's about to happen. You gave us these shitty trailers that did nothing to actually build up hype for the region. So invest every penny that you have remaining in actually marketing that the LCS is back next year. And third, bring I Will Dominate, bring Doublelift, bring the co-streamers onto the broadcast itself. Splitting people up amongst 3 or 4 different channels is, quite frankly, I think killing North America more than any other region. I understand for Europe and for the LCK, you have Cadril and others that do their own thing on their own channel. That's fine. Nobody in North America co-streaming is big enough for us not to have this consolidated on one product. Find a way to make the budget work to bring them in-house and make it work, because that's the only way that you're going to get people tuning back into that domestic product. And the creators themselves are not big enough, all isolated and separated out, to help grow this thing. We need a unified front, not different fragmented pieces. Other regions are big enough that they can handle co-streaming and it works well for them. We are not. People hate the broadcast as is. I don't necessarily agree with that opinion. I personally enjoy it, but it is bluntly clear that we need a better broadcast for people to actually tune into North America. So bring in the co-streamers and let them take creative reign. They will know how to reel themselves back from that personality that you see on the co-streams. Dom has talked about this explicitly in the latest SmackDown with Spawn. So there's no reason that you say that you can't do it other than the money. And if you truly want to invest to make sure that this league is around, bring back the LCS, actually market, and use your co-streamers who are good at content on their own to help you market it. And that's how we can get back to a somewhat decent state of hopefully 6-figure average viewership in the first goddamn week of the season. That's it. I'm not going to extend this video any longer, try and make it 10 minutes. I got my points across, and that's it. If you think that this is too harsh, put it down in the comments. That's fine. I will reply to anything that I can that should address any concerns that people have. But that's my stance on this, and I'm going to be pushing this publicly for the foreseeable future. This is the hard line in the sand that I am drawing, because it is not under any way acceptable to have the viewership drop off that we have right now, when it is the direct result of Riot making piss poor decisions over and over and over again. I do not want to see this region die, and I will champion my issues as long as I can to try and help this. Because dear God, was that whole best of one versus best of three argument shit when nobody's tuning in general.